hear no gunshots, but they getting low, 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 low.
Hello, members of the web surfing community. My name is Noah Cagle, and I'm a hobbyist computer scientist. Today I'm going to be helping you understand a Visual Basic Windows form written in C#. First, to understand that, you got to understand object-oriented programming, which is the type of programming language that C# is. Any piece of your program, like a button or a piece of text that we call a label, is considered a object. Objects are defined by class files, which are just text files with C# code in it. Variables represent various objects in our code, and we can use these variables to access the objects inside of the object itself, such as the text value of a button. Right here it shows how you would create a variable of a button, and down here we've got the English version of it. Whenever you declare a variable, you want to start with declaring the type of variable that it is. So this variable right here is named button. This button, its name is button with a lowercase b, but that could be really anything I wanted. This new button right here means that we're creating a new button that is not being used by the system already, and it did not exist until this line of code registered. This button will have default settings, probably no width and no height, and no location. Objects will be able to contain other objects that we can use throughout the program, like I said before. So if I wanted to change the text inside of this button, I could just reference the text variable that we have inside of the button class that is already built into C#, written by some really smart person who wrote all these libraries that we have for C#. So this code right here would change, the second line of code would change the text inside of the button to I am a button, hee hee, whenever I needed it to change to that. Now I've thrown together a simple little program that we can look at to understand the anatomy of a Windows form program now that we understand how objects work. Alrighty, so in this Visual Studio Windows form program written in C#, we've got our form right here that is just a window frame with a container inside of it that Visual Studio has already made for us because they're very nice about that. We've got these two objects here that are spinners, or Visual Studio likes to call them numeric up and downs, but that's just a mouthful, so I like to call them spinners. I have named these over here in my property window. Down here, this first one is going to be num1, and the second one is going to be num2, simple enough. Over here, I've got a button. It's going to add these two together. And this button in here is named btn solve. And we have a label right here that I've named lbl answer. And the text right here just says not yet ran. I would have left that empty, but for educational purposes, I left it there invisible. Double click on our button here. Double click. Come on. There we go. It's going to bring us to our method that is called whenever we click the button. So in that method, we're going to create two new variables. One is going to be called number1, one's going to be called number2. They're going to be decimal variables so that we can have them at 1.1 or 1.2 if we want to, and that's just good for precision. Number 1 is going to equal the value of the first number that we had in our spinner in our addition program. Same with number 2, but on the second spinner as well. And then we're going to make another answer, or another variable called ans for answer, and it's going to be the two of these variables added together. Last but not least, we're going to set the text of the label that we have over here, the not yet ran label. We're going to set that equal to the answer that we have now come up with. So if we run this program, it should run successfully. Alright, so here's the program that we have right here. We can just do a simple math problem. 4 plus 3 is going to be 7, obviously. So if we press that equals sign, this label should say 7. And so therefore our program has worked and we have succeeded. Any questions or concerns or things you might want to C, just let me know in the comments.